Hey, this is Angel. This is my 22nd day in a row making a video like this. Today, something that came up for me was simplifying to make way for new things. And this came up for me as I have recently moved, and it made me get rid of a lot of things that I had, like possessions, material things. And it also made me really assess what are the things of value in my life. I think changes like that, moving, um, doing things like that, it's it really makes you have to pay attention to all the things that are around us, all the ways that we interact, and not just with our material world, but even our routines, the places that we go, ways that we meet our basic needs, and the areas that we're in, and also the things that we use. And I had talked in a previous video about loose ends and what it feels like to have a lot of loose ends. um when I started kind of shifting my perspective and really trying to um put more awareness on the things that I was doing, and the ways, my habits, the ways that I was being, that were bringing me down, causing me pain, causing me to have a hard time finding a sense of balance. I think a lot of it was created by having a lot of undone things. I had debts, I wanted to pay friends back for helping me. I had a lot of things going on where it was a loose end could be as simple as a text that I haven't I haven't messaged back, or an email that I left sitting with no response, or tasks or projects that I am in the middle of but I don't know when I'm going to finish, or things that feel like they weigh heavy on the back of my mind. Maybe I'll be doing something in a day, but it's I'm always thinking back to this thing that I have to do, or this thing that I want to do, and feeling when all of that is compiled, too many loose ends, too many undone things, it makes it so that it's taking up so much mental space that the day to day becomes harder to do, because we're not as present. I wasn't as present in those times. It was a form of survival mode, where it's I'm just trying to go day by day, feeling so overwhelmed and overstimulated by all the things that have been weighing on me. And when I started to address those things little by little, I'm still on the journey of doing so, but I've made so much progress that it's allowed me to free up enough mental space to do new things, to learn new things, meet new people, be able to have more positive experiences, because I'm not so unsettled. There's not so many things that I feel I'm just trying to get to. It's there's room now made for some enjoyment, and also being able to have time to learn, not just learn in a casual way, but actually commit to new things, commit to the process of learning new things over time. And I think for a while, it was really hard for me to do that, because being in survival mode meant that so much of my time and energy was in heightened emotional states, adrenaline states, that the other time that I had more downtime was just really about recovering from from those like heightened like emotional places, those like types of like feelings that like made it so I was so stressed, like I was like moving so fast on the inside that it was like I couldn't have a lot of enjoyment time. Like I didn't have like mental space or capacity to like be involved in things because it was just like I was drained by the end of it. Um, and I think like simplifying really helped me move out of that space because it was like less things to manage. In my home, it was like less things to clean, less things to like maintain. In my relationships, it was kind of like addressing like what activities were draining to me, what were energizing to me, what are the types of things that I enjoy doing, like what places make sense to go to for me. Like sometimes what's simple for one person might be more complicated for another person, or like the value is different. Like maybe there's a grocery store that I like to go to, but it's like a little farther out of the way. But because I enjoy going there, it's like it fulfills like multiple needs. And like just kind of like working with myself, like working with like what feels good for me to do, like what makes sense for me to do, like when I need to switch up, like when I need to like switch up what I'm doing. Um if something like isn't working, like being able to like shift that. It's definitely like in the process, like in that process, there's also potential for enjoyment, like figuring out what are the things that like made me feel like more nourished, like more excited, like more like just what was like bringing me joy, like even if it was like something simple. And that process of like simplifying, I feel like it makes it feel like there's like, like fog lifted. Like I can like start to like see a little bit more like the direction that I'm going, and like the what I want, not just like what I want right now, but like what I want long term, like being able to ask myself that, like address that, and not feel like I'm living in so much fear of like what will happen or like what could happen. And I think that's like what survival mode like really feels like too, is like that feeling of like because there's so much uncertainty, the automatic like thinking is just like, oh, it's going to be something that I need to prepare for that's negative. I need to like already put myself in this kind of like almost like fighting feeling just to maintain or just to like survive. And I think that when we do like this regulating our nervous system, I watched like a video today too that was like talking about like being in a calm nervous system and being able to like hold money because of that. And it made so much sense to me. Like I just resonated with it because I was like, yeah, like if I'm oh, and a big part of the conversation too was also talking about like having an unstructured just like an unstructured life. And it was like making sense to me because I'm like, yeah, like when I was dealing with like a lot of like heightened emotions, it's like my day was so scattered. Like I'd be responding to like my emotional distress like pretty much constantly. Like I would do one thing, I would feel anxiety or fear, I would react to that, I would try to cope with that, I would try to manage that, and then I would go on to like the next task. And emotional regulation, like it's like a muscle, like it takes like so much practice, like it's very like involved. Like there's like a lot of like self-talk, like just how we, not just like how we feel things, but like what our actions are after the feeling of things, like how we take care of ourselves, what we're allowing ourselves, how we're allowing ourselves to be, like the amount of space or time that we're giving ourselves to process that, like just being able to like address those things. And I think sometimes like when we're in a feeling of just like going and going and like we gotta like go to the next thing and like there's not really like a slow down or like really any time to like rest and just kind of like receive, it makes it so that we have difficulty. Like I was having difficulty being able to like plan ahead. I was having difficulty moving forward like in any opportunities, or even feeling like I could spend time with like friends. Like it just kind of felt like I was always going through it, so I always needed like space just to go through that, just so that I was not like so that I didn't feel like I was like a burden to other people. Like I think that was like something that I really didn't like, the feeling of like I just felt like I was always in emotional like distress, and so I didn't want to like put that on anyone else. But I think like what simplifying has done, like, and simplifying can just like mean so much for different people, but I think it, for me, it was like really like condensing all of the things that I needed to do so that the things that I felt like I had to do started to feel more simple. The things that like activity, even like activities that I was doing, like how could I do this like in a more easeful way? Like I think simplicity is like, I see it very much like being connected to like easefulness, where it's like if something feels like easy to me, if something feels like enjoyable to me, then that's like what sim like simplicity like feels like. There's like a flow to it. Like I'm not having to have so much like resistance to what I'm trying to do, and being in a space too that's like simplified, like, and not just like aesthetically, like I think like we can have like a bunch of different stuff, but it's like being able to have like a flow to how I do things, how I like manage my regular tasks, like how I take care of myself, and not trying to like overcomplicate that process made it so that I could like free up my mind. I was like able to hear myself more clearly, like listen to my emotions like more clearly, and simplifying my relationships too. Like, like being around anybody is like it can be like a challenge, like especially like when you're dealing with things yourself. It's like there's always challenges that come up like with people, but I think like we intrinsically know like when there are people around us that are supportive and there are people around us that are like making it more difficult for us to take care of ourselves, or like people like who want to see us like doing well and like encouraging of that. And like when a relationship is like not serving us, like it's just making it so that we are questioning ourselves, or like there's a lot of like there's a lot of like a control like dynamic. I think like addressing that is not to say that like we need to like leave people in our lives or anything. Like I think that like any type of relationship can be repaired, but I think it is like about taking the time to like really understand what we need so that we can show up for others like in a more productive, like more positive, more loving way. And when I say like simplifying too, it's like sometimes that simplifying just means like the way we spend time with people. Like maybe for a while, like wasn't as I didn't feel like as good in like a party setting or like in like group settings. But then over time, like I started to feel like more comfortable. Like I started to feel like I could actually like enjoy myself in spaces like that. But in order to get to that point, it was helpful for me to like simplify like the way that I was spending time with people, like just having like one-on-ones or like even just keeping up with people like over the phone, like just having connections in a way that I felt like I could manage even with low capacity. Um yeah, like just being able to simplify things so that there's more ease and that allows for like new feelings to come in, like new connections to come in. And in my case too, it was like a lot of new experiences started to happen because I was like allowing those new experiences to happen because my mind wasn't so scattered in like a lot of different areas. I was able to really like have things feel like I wasn't so concerned with everything that I wasn't doing. And I'm like still like figuring things out every day, but it's like at least I've gotten to the point where like I've addressed a lot of the things that were weighing heavily on me. And at first, like like it felt like so big at the time, but slowly, going through each step, like really figuring out what is like making life feel so complicated, making small changes like until things feel like a little more easeful. I think like that has just opened up like so many new possibilities for me. And being in that state of like possibility, you're like more curious, you're having fun with things, you're able to like enjoy the process because there's not so much like stress and feelings of like chaos. It's not like survival mode. It's like it feels like regulation. It feels like, and even like the word regulation, like if that feels like almost more restrictive to me. But I think what I imagine it to be is like just feeling like a sense of calm in my body where like I can take things as they come and I'm not having such like heightened feelings that I feel like out of control of. Um, yeah, so that's what came up for me today. It was good to chat and we'll keep doing this as long as I feel like it. So, talk soon.